LG G-Pad 8.3 strongly resembles the new Nexus 7, but it also is playing in the same category as another 8-inch tablet device, the Galaxy Note 8.0. We're going to take a quick look at how these compare here at IFA in 2013 in Berlin. I'm Michael Fisher with Pocket Now. Let's get to it. So side by side, the differences in aesthetic design become apparent. LG has opted for an aluminum back panel here in contrast with Samsung's traditional build quality of hyperglazed polycarbonate. You can also notice right up front here that the speakers, these are stereo speakers left and right on the back. Unfortunately, they are back mounted, not side mounted like on Samsung's device. Which one you prefer will depend on how you use the tablet more. We're able to cover up these speakers with our thumbs in both our full review and the After the Buzz a little more often than we would have liked, so maybe you will prefer this arrangement. Both have 5 megapixel primary cameras around the back as well, and as far as thickness goes, we're not looking at a major gulf there. LG's new tablet is 8.3 millimeters. The real difference, of course, being, and I should mention, by the way, IR blaster there, IR blaster up top, or transmitter if you prefer. The real difference being measurement-wise in bezel size. These are, I believe, 7.9 millimeters on the new LG tablet. Samsung's bezel size significantly larger, thanks to the requirement to include the S Pen, which of course we've looked at quite a bit. Everyone knows how that works and what kind of value that adds. LG did not include a stylus on this device. You can use a capacitive stylus with it, of course, but there are some aspects of the software that emulate or reproduce some of the Note 8's features. We're going to take a look at those in a second, but just so we get a feel for the displays here. This is a 1920 by 1200 display over here, 8.3 inches full HD IPS. The Galaxy Note, I believe, is 1280 by 800. Obviously a big pixel density improvement on the LG product. Let's take a look in software and see what we can learn. In terms of software here, it's a little difficult to show the differences in the lock screen because LG's unit here is locked into some kind of a retail demo mode. But the new G-Pad 8.3 does have knock-on, which allows you to double tap on the screen both to lock and to unlock the tablet, which we find pretty nice. Samsung replicating that functionality with a physical home button down below, which LG does not incorporate. You can see the software keys down here, back, home, and menu. A couple other hidden features in there as well, but the lock button is off to the side on each one. We can lock and unlock traditionally if you prefer. As we were saying before, the S Pen adds a whole lot of functionality to the Note 8 that we've talked rather extensively about. But LG has not been skimping on the added features here. As you can see in the notification tray here, we've got very similar controls as far as brightness goes and some of those toggles. There's an entire tray of Q-Slide apps which you can run. It's LG's multitasking approach, which you can run these apps side by side. You can run them in Windows. You have various options for changing their transparency and so on. But one of the areas that excites us the most is the difference in multitasking approach. At Samsung, you can pull up the application ribbon there, of course, as you can, and on any Android device. And you can also, well, I'm not going to do that one. You can also throw two applications side by side with each other, and you can switch them, invert them, and so on. That's really a lot of fun. LG, in addition to providing the standard multitasking ribbon, just like on the Samsung device or any Android device, it has slide aside. So we can open Chrome. There we go, there's Chrome. And if you, rather than just closing it, you use 3 fingers to swipe it off to the side. It's a little bit of a cumbersome gesture, but once you get the hang of it, and assuming you have 3 fingers handy, you throw all these over there, and then when you want to pull that ribbon back, you just 3-finger swipe over there. You have your apps, you can tap right into them to jump into them, or if you prefer, you hop back in here, you can toss them off the top of the screen. As Anton just noted in his hands-on with this device, it's a lot like WebOS. Of course, LG now owns the rights to much of WebOS, so that shouldn't be a surprise. It is interesting. There's a lot of other features here, and of course we've got LG's Q Memo, which, though there's no S Pen here, does allow you to use your fingertip, does provide quite a few options for what kind of marker you want to use. You want to say circle this and say, yeah, we want to do a Hangout, and we definitely want to do it on Google. And we also sort of want to do a voice search later on. I don't know who would do that, but if you wanted to do that, you could do it. A lot of other functionality here, of course, as well, but this is just a very, very quick look. The software differences here between TouchWiz on the Samsung Galaxy Note 8.0 and LG's custom UI. I will say this, LG, no stranger to making responsive user interfaces. This is kind of similar, but you can notice this little springy action when we get to the end of the home screen here. The icons just come up and they bounce back. Yeah, it's a little cartoony, it's a little gimmicky, but it is responsive. It's the kind of responsiveness we first saw on the what was it? The Optimus G really blew us away, and that appears to be the case here. Just not, even though this device has been abused, it's also running in a special retail mode. Really, really really tough to get this to bog down. It's pretty impressive. Galaxy Note 8, no slouch, of course, but Samsung, you know, not quite as up to the task in terms of raw responsiveness of the UI. But like we say, very quick look. We're going to have a proper comparison of these two devices in the weeks ahead once we get a review unit in our hands. Till then, we have a lot more to do at IFA here in Berlin. I'm Michael Fisher with Pocket Now. That's Tony behind the camera. Stay tuned for a lot more.
The LG G Pad 8.3 is the latest mid-size tablet offering from LG, and it's their first tablet in just about a year since the LG Optimus Pad LTE. The G Pad 8.3 runs on a Snapdragon 600 processor of the quad-core 1.7 GHz flavor. It has a 8.3-inch screen diagonal of 1920 by 1200 pixels resolution, which equals a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is most frequently occupied by the 3 capacitive keys at the bottom of the screen. As far as the software version goes, it is Android 4.22 Jelly Bean and features many of the recent UI improvements brought by LG in their G2 flagship. This includes numerous shortcut toggles along the top of the screen, which can also be customized. There's also the Q-Slide integration, which pops up floating apps, which lets you work on multiple things while you have different full screen applications open. All floating apps can be resized, as well as having their transparency toggled. While the G Pad 8.3 does not feature data network connectivity, it does come with the Q-Pair app, which allows you to pair the G Pad 8.3 with another Android device of version 4.1 and later. In this situation, we're using the LG G2, but this can work with any Android smartphone version 4.1 or later. And this allows you to use the smartphone's connection to receive call notifications, messages, as well as pop up recent apps which you have opened on the smartphone. While unfortunately the G Pad 8.3 does not come with LG's dual screen, dual play feature, which allows you to cast a video onto another device while simultaneously doing something completely different on the tab. You can connect to another TV or tablet using Wi-Fi Direct or to any other device connected on a Wi-Fi network. LG allows you to customize multiple different aspects of their interface, which not only allows you to add different wallpapers, apps, and widgets to your various home screens, but allows you to customize your icons as well. So you can, for instance, change the Google Play icon to something else entirely, and even adjust the size of it to take up a 2x2 grid. The G Pad also features an infrared port on the top, which means that you can use the preloaded Q Remote app to control various TVs or set-top boxes. You can designate different devices for different rooms, as well as use Magic Remote with the integrated touchpad option for various LG Smart TVs. Unfortunately, the version that's found on the G Pad 8.3 does not support anything beyond TVs or set-top boxes like air conditioners, which is kind of a disappointment. Finally, when it comes to internet browsing, the G Pad features both the Google Chrome and its own Android-based browser. For its own browser, it has taken a lot of cues from Google Chrome, featuring almost an identical interface with most of your navigation controls along the top and only the capacitive keys along the bottom. The browser is fast and responsive and is able to show up most Flash-based ads as well as play YouTube videos in browser. If, however, you do want desktop sync, like on Google Chrome, you will have to resort to using the Chrome browser instead.
Hey guys, Corey here with Gotta Be Mobile, and we're taking a look at the LG G Pad today. Now this is an 8.3-inch tablet that's been available for a little while now, but now that Newegg and a bunch of other places, and Best Buy had this for a Cyber Monday deal. We figured we'd take a second look at it and let you guys all check it out. So this will just be a quick hands-on and unboxing, not a lot to it. This is an 8.3-inch tablet that is pretty impressive specs all around, only for $349. You get an 8.3-inch display that is comparable to like the iPad mini and many others because it comes in at a full 1080p HD resolution like the new Nexus 7. So we're going to go ahead and set that aside. And in the box, nothing too specific here. Some paperwork and then the usual chargers. And we've been kind of using it for a few days here, so there's nothing fancy to it. It's kind of a box and charger and paperwork. So we're going to go ahead and set that aside and get to the main deal here, which is the tablet itself. So as you can see, it's a pretty good size, definitely a good size, and fits in your hand quite nice. But overall, it's just been an impressive tablet here for us for the last few days. And it's kind of a fingerprint magnet on the back. But what we do have here is an overall package that's quite impressive from LG. So, like we mentioned, we have a 8.3-inch display here, and that is 1080p. It's got a Snapdragon 600 quad-core processor under the hood with 2 gigs of RAM, and then it comes with 16 gigabytes of internal storage. But then what makes it even better, over the Nexus 7 and iPad mini and many others, is right here you can actually pull this open, and it is a micro SD slot for expanding storage. So it does have 16, and of course you can add as much as you would like. And while you're looking at the back here, it's got a nice kind of a lightweight aluminum, a 5 megapixel camera with 1080p video, and stereo speakers, and they are stereo unlike the G2 smartphone and others. The G-Pad 8.3 has full stereo sound that's actually pretty impressive. As you slide around the side, we have the power button, the volume rockers. Down below is the USB port for charging and syncing, a little microphone, and then nothing on this side. And as we rotate back to the front here, where the micro SD slot was, we also have an infrared blaster to use this as a remote, and LG's Quick Remote app works wonderfully, and then of course the 3.5mm headphone jack. Now we're going to go ahead and turn on the LG G-Pad 8.3, and just like the G2 and a few others, it's got kind of a nifty feature for turning it on. It seems kind of mediocre at first and not that big of a deal, but instead of trying to fumble for a button when it's on a stand or sitting on the table, a quick double tap on the screen initiates it and turns it on, and then you slide to unlock and you are in and ready to go. Same thing, double tap and it turns off, double tap and it turns back on. And now this is actually kind of a fancy feature. We've kind of enjoyed it overall more than we thought we would, just because it kind of makes it really easy to go ahead and flip open the device, turn it on, and get it going within seconds that usually you'd have to kind of find the power button. So overall here, it's Android 4.2 Jelly Bean, which is kind of the only major downer for the G-Pad 8.3. LG's kind of notorious for not being the best maybe when it comes to updating to the latest and greatest software, and the G-Pad's no exception here. There's no 4.3 or 4.4 like the Nexus 7. This may get an upgrade to 4.3 or 4.4 after the G-Pad or the G2 does, which is already kind of slated for sometime next year. So the only downside will be updates and Android here, but Android 4.2 does work great already, and it's no exception here on the G-Pad. So we have your standard buttons down below. The pull down bars kind of got a lot going on, as you can see here. They have all their quick apps and shortcuts, but it's pretty smooth. And then down here we can go ahead and change the brightness and notification sound. It's not the best layout. We're definitely not fans of it, to say the least, and hopefully we can get rid of that. And then they've got kind of a neat little effect here. There's no more pages, so it kind of tells you and everything kind of slides. But it's kind of a cool effect here with the stock launcher and very smooth animations. The quad-core Snapdragon 600 is extremely quick in the LG G2, and it just flies. Go ahead and head into the app tray, and overall it's been kind of a good tablet to use. It's great for gaming, and then of course, like I mentioned, using the Quick Remote app, you go ahead and launch this, and it's got an awesome remote. So here you can I've got it set up for my Vizio TV, and using that infrared port up top, you can control the TV while you're browsing, the web on the couch, and that's been probably what I've used the most. Is that sad? But one thing here, I'm going to go ahead and hit home. I have two launchers on this because I'm not the biggest fan of the stock software provided by LG, not going to lie. It's definitely not my favorite part of the G2 or the G-Pad. So I went ahead and replaced it with Nova Launcher. Kind of gives it more of a stock Android look. So when you launch that, You've got a stock kind of Android 4.3, 4.4 look to it. And overall, this kind of just been a much better experience for me, but to each their own. Everyone will probably, you know, do what they want. And of course, the notification bar doesn't change, but the you know, the app tray changes and is more kind of in line with what we're used to with some of the stock Android devices. But if you want to go back to that regular launcher, it's just a button away, and this is how it comes out of the box by LG. Obviously, I've added a couple apps and games and notifications and different things, but overall it's been kind of a great experience. Go ahead and head into settings. The main settings might be more helpful. Right here, this settings button is only for the volume, and it's actually a tiny little button down here to get into your main settings page, which is just an awful way to do it, LG. That needs to be fixed. But it's got a nice kind of double pane view here. If you go ahead and kind of get that sideways, it is a much better overall experience. The only thing that it's kind of been a downer maybe is the brightness isn't quite as bright as the Nexus 7 or even the iPad mini. I thought the brightness would be a little better. It is a full, you know, 1920 by 1080p HD display on this 8.3-inch screen, but the brightness isn't the best. But that aside, the battery life's been pretty great. Not anything amazing, but pretty excellent. I believe it's a 4700 milliamp battery inside. And of course, like we mentioned, Android 4.2 is on board, which is, you know, it's okay. But we would love to see something new. But overall, it's been a pretty great device for, you know, browsing the web, using on the couch, of course using that remote, which conveniently LG has built right into the notification pull-down bar. You tap quick remote and it instantly appears here for you. You can see that on screen, the remote right from the notification bar, or you can go ahead and tap one button and expand into the full remote and control your TV. And we have the slide aside features and everything else that's been available on the G-Pad. Go ahead and slide with 3 fingers. It saves it over to the side, and now it says up above, slide aside, app has been saved. And then a couple 3-finger slide again will kind of reopen it, so you can add multiple things. Very similar to the push and hold multitasking that's already on Android 4.4 or 4.2. So it's kind of nice, but kind of unnecessary. And then of course Google Now is available as always for those looking for some Google Now information. That was just a quick look at the LG G-Pad 8.3. It's quite nice. It's $349, brand new, but plenty of deals on Newegg and other places have it for much cheaper this week. So we figured a quick look at what LG had to offer was in order. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for a full review coming up.
Hey everyone, this is Anton. We are here in Berlin at the LG booth in IFA, and we are taking a look at the LG G-Pad 8.3. Let's check it out. If you mistake this with the LG G2, you are right. This looks like an LG G2, which is not a bad thing necessarily. And this feels like somewhat premium tablet because of the aluminum on the back, which you can see it is real aluminum. It blends in with the white plastic surrounding it. Of course, this is the white version. There's also a black version, which we don't have here, but you can know exactly how the black one looks. The aluminum is a little bit darker. This is natural aluminum. The other one is anodized. Coming up to the front, this screen is an 8.3-inch screen with 1200 by 1920 resolution. This is a first on a tablet on this form factor, says LG. And under the screen, there is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 600 processor clocked at 1.7 GHz, aided by 2 GB of RAM. 16 GB of internal storage can be extended via a micro SD card slot right here at the top. And while we're here, we should mention that the camera is without an LED flash, but a 5-megapixel shooter paired with a 1.3 megapixel webcam on the front. Unfortunately, it's not 4.3 and not the upcoming 4.4. It's 4.2.2 Android version running on this, and of course with LG's own custom UI, which brings a couple of new things, and it also borrows a couple of features from the LG G2. For instance, the knock on and knock off. I cannot demonstrate it because automatically the tablet will play the demo, but you get the idea. Once your tablet is locked, you can double tap to wake it up and double tap to close it. If I'm fast enough, in this case, I am not. Also, the Q applications, the Q Memo, the Q Slide are all known for previous LG products. Q Pair is also something interesting. You can receive notifications from your phone directly on your tablet. But probably the most interesting feature is Slide Aside, which you know from the LG G2. So for instance, if you fire up Gallery and you swipe with 3 fingers, fingers to the left, you open up, for instance, calendar, same thing, sliding to the left, and then another application, which could be your email application, slide away to the left, and well, not this one, but you get the idea. Once you slide back with 3 fingers, you have your applications, and you can of course easily tap on whichever you desire. And you can of course either click on the X button to kill it or swipe up, which is very WebOS-ish, but now since LG owns WebOS, we can understand the feature. So this is a very quick look at the LG G Pad 8.3. I've been Anton, coming to you from IFA LG booth. Michael behind the camera. Thank you very much for watching. Comparison coming up. Stay tuned.
LG hasn't really launched that many tablets, and I don't really understand why. They built some great displays, so much so that the iPad is powered by them. So when they finally announced the tablet at IFA, I'll admit I was very excited. So I'm Jaime Rivera, this is Pocket Now, and this is our unboxing of the LG G Pad 8.3. So I'll admit that when I pulled this out of the UPS box, I was amazed at how narrow this box is. So this is definitely a long tablet and not a wide one. We got some specifications, the usual details, and sadly this is a second batch unit. Some outlets and OEMs are having trouble getting us reviewing it on time, and we really appreciate them going out of their way to get us one as soon as they could. So this is the G Pad 8.3. Love this aluminum finish at the back. Love the plastic finish and the contrast between these. We get the speakers back here that we're definitely going to be testing, 5-megapixel camera here, and we get these white bezels, and definitely this looks like a big LG G2, and I am a big fan of the G2. I really can't wait to start using this tablet. So let's see if there is some juice in it here. Other than that, we know the usual. Tablets ship with bare minimums. All we get is a wall wart, we get a USB syncing cable, and we get this 8.3-inch 1920 by 1200 display. And we get a little sound as the usual. We get a Snapdragon 600 processor in this tablet, not 800. We'll see how that performs. 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of storage, and there is expandable memory here at the top. There's an IR blaster as well. Other than that, this is a very simple tablet, and yes, I know you're running out of battery. Viewing angles, this is an IPS display like in the iPad, are not bad, really not bad at all. But this tablet will cost you $350. So obviously you're trying to compare this against the Nexus 7, which is $150 cheaper. But you also have the iPad mini, which will cost you somewhere around there as well, $300 already. So far, let's see, the mini is definitely wider than this G Pad 8.3, and definitely, this is going to be a tough one. It is slimmer than the G Pad 8.3 as well, but I do like how substantial the G Pad feels. I do love also this long display. I don't like wide displays because they're not really easy to carry in the back pocket of your jeans, but so far we're definitely going to be putting this tablet to the test. I will admit that my first impressions are actually positive. I especially love the materials. I love the design. So we'll keep you posted, and our review should be out very soon. That's it for our unboxing of the G Pad 8.3. We'll definitely spend some quality time with it in the next coming days, so make sure you leave your questions in the comments down below. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Jaime_Rivera. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. See you very soon.